Welcome to We're Talking Bears, the show where uncle, nephew, and son give you the latest in Chicago Bears news. Now, we're giving you a weekly live broadcast coming in on Tuesday evenings. Hey, what's up, nephew?
What's going on,
How you
Unc?
feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good, man. Lots of new Bears talk, man. The draft is now over. They're continuing to push forward and make some moves. Got some new guys signed up to the roster. And now the waiting game begins, man. We get to see what polls and the guys have in store as we lead up to the preseason and then the season opener. So, man, it's lots of fun right now. Lots of Bears to talk.
Hey, I feel like the offseason, now we just have some wins during the regular season because we seem to win the offseason a lot. But I'm feeling good because we have added a ton of talent in free agency and then added a ton of talent in the draft. And now, this episode, we're going to talk about some of these undrafted free agent kids that are really coming on to be camp bodies. But the thing about Ryan Poles, each year he brings in bodies. We got Jack Sanborn as a camp body. Then after that, we ended up getting Tyson Bagent as a camp body. So we tend to have a camp body, and if someone can impress them, then no problem not only giving them a contract, but putting them on the 53-man roster.
Right.
And so I think for these guys that are camp bodies right now, that's got to be a huge, huge, huge incentive to know you're on a team where two important players both came right off of the training camp, and boom, all of a sudden they're regular guys on the roster. Um, I think it's a beautiful thing. A couple other issues that you brought up: running backs and tight ends.
Yeah, and
It's a lot
safeties.
going on.
Yeah,
And safeties. Yeah, it's a
absolutely,
lot going
absolutely.
on. It's a
It is,
lot
man.
going
And
on.
you know what it's you gotta love it, man. A lot of these guys, young guys, getting an opportunity of a lifetime, and some of them won't be superstars in the league. Some of them won't even be regular players on the 53-man roster, like you stated. But just to have that opportunity, I know it means a lot. And you get a lot of talented guys that can make something of themselves because they get that opportunity. And some guys just have the heart and the will and the drive to make it. And so this opportunity, especially when you have a team that's building and you have young guys and you have a lot of guys that want to make a name for themselves or earn their spot or prove that they're worthy of being there and actually make a name for themselves in the league. These guys are right there and on the cusp, even though we may see them and the coaches and ownership may see them as camp bodies. I'm sure they look at it as like, hey, when I get my opportunity to get out there, I'm here to show and prove. So this is always a fun time of year to see a lot of these young guys get an opportunity like that.
The other thing is now with the new format, most of these guys, even if they're camp bodies, will be able to play in all three of the preseason games and get some NFL film against NFL talent, which is all the difference in the world. I mean, just because even if the Bears don't pick you up or practice squad you, maybe even we do practice squad you, but you had such good film there that somebody else went ahead and snatched you off our practice squad. It does happen,
Right.
So
Right.
it's a good thing. Why don't we dig in with these UDFAs, the
Let's do
undrafted
it.
free agents,
Let's do it.
and yeah, kind of kick in and take a look at that and see what's going on. I love this guy's name, Major Burns. Major Burns. You know what? As a safety, though, don't get Major Burns. Because you'll never live that down. You'll
Don't get
absolutely
Major Burn. You're funny.
you'll
You're funny.
never ever live that down.
Okay,
Safety out of
Smithers. Burns
tell
like
him.
Mr. Burns from The Simpsons. So he reminds
Yeah,
me
don't do that neither. Yeah. So, when you look at this kid, I like kids out of power programs, right?
Absolutely.
You come out of LSU, here's a program that's given us um uh, uh, the Minnesota wide receiver Jefferson,
Hmm.
has given us Cincinnati quarterback, um, and, and wide receiver program that's given us some all pro level players. And when you come out of that, you should know something. So I think, but again, from the guys that we picked up, Jack Sanborn, for example, came out of Wisconsin, which is a linebacker factory, so not surprised. But Tyson Bagent, I forgot the name of his school. It was like West Virginia, I think it was. Definitely, who comes out of, and it was Division 3, I believe. Who comes out of West Virginia
Right.
and makes it to the NFL? It just doesn't happen. So just because if you're on this list and you didn't come out of a great school, doesn't mean you don't have an opportunity. Look at our backup quarterback that is absolutely solid on our. Uh, he's our number two. I don't see him being uprooted as number two. I like him. He's tough. He can throw the pill. He's a solid kid. So there's a lot of motivation. You know, moving on with the great names, Power Eccles.
Right.
Uh, Power Eccles. And that's it. There you go. Uh, as a linebacker, I hope you hit. Your name is Power.
Right.
So
Right.
coming out of North Carolina, not a big school. North Carolina is where we got Mitch Trubisky, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
I mean, you know what? And
he
Mr. Trubisky wasn't terrible. I'm not here to crap on Mr.
wasn't. That's
Trubisky.
why I said,
He wasn't terrible.
you know,
He had a
you know,
season or two where he was serviceable. He
he
actually
was
had a
he
Pro
was
Bowl season, if
drafted.
I'm not mistaken. Did he not?
He
He
made the
did.
Pro Bowl the
Yeah.
2018 when we went 12-4.
Yeah.
He's got the most wins in a long time as a Bears quarterback. Again, 12-4.
Right.
Um, so he did some notable stuff. I think he was just drafted too high. That's all. He had been drafted third or fourth round. Nobody would have been mad about the performance he put out there.
Right.
JP Richardson, honestly, with the wide receiver room that we've just developed in the past 2 years, I don't see anybody opening that door. And then we got the steal of the draft, taking a wide receiver in the second round that should have been a first rounder.
Yeah, Burden.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, mm, I mean, maybe maybe he can make the practice squad, but he's not breaking the 53-man roster. Um, and they brought in a long snapper, I think, just for competition.
Yeah.
I think this guy is pretty light. He's physically not big. So I know long snappers usually aren't, but they're usually linebacker size. This guy is more lighter than a linebacker. So I don't, I think he's just there for competition. Can you get the hike right?
Right.
Um, yeah, we got Jonathan Kim, kicker again. Cairo Santos. Hey, we're behind Cairo on this show. This is a kid who, like Robbie Gold, has never missed a kick in the playoffs, and we just need to get him back to the playoffs so he
I was
can
about to say we
continue his
have to be
progress.
there to say things like that, but you're right. You're absolutely right.
Well,
You're right.
he was there with the 49ers, and then he was there with us when Trubisky took us back to the playoffs. And he didn't miss a kick. He hasn't missed a kick in the playoffs in his career, and he's a 90% field goal kicker. From about 50 in. He's 90+% 50 in. So you have to get the ball to the 35. And Caleb figured that out in that Green Bay game. Hey, I want this win. Get the ball to the 35. And it's going in. You put the ball on the 45, you're throwing the dice. You know,
Right.
he doesn't. Cairo doesn't have a huge leg, and I guess this kid Kim has a pretty big leg. So it's gonna stretch him. But bottom line is accuracy is everything. If you're kicking, if you're hiking the ball on the 40 or past the 40, and you're trying to put a field goal in, your offense isn't doing its job. You're in desperation mode. That's just the way I feel about it. I
Yeah.
think your offense got to be able to move the ball into reasonable field goal range. It's got to be able to sustain. Now we have two top quality tight ends. You get a guy that Cole Kmet catches 85% of his passes for average 10 yards. Why aren't you hitting him on third down? Throw the ball his way on third down. 17 out of 20 chance that he catches it for a first. It's there's no excuse for taking a guy who's a 90+% kicker and having him kick from 57.
Right.
You screwed up. You
Right.
screwed up. Don't make that kid kick from balls hiked on the 40, balls planted on the 47, and in the past the offensive line wasn't holding up either. So the offensive line is getting caved and pancaked, and come on, man. It's a lot. It's asking a
Hopefully
lot.
those
And
days are over for us now. But yeah, you're
man,
right.
come on, just get the ball to the 35. Get the ball to the 30. We're probably doggone near perfect. So I think it's important to bring that. It's important to have competition at every position. It's
Yeah.
important for Caleb to know that Tyson Bagent wants his job. Tyson Bagent, I'm sure, sees himself as the next kid out of San Francisco. What's his name? Quarterback at San Fran.
Oh, Mr. Irrelevant.
Mr. Irrelevant.
Why am I
Yes.
forgetting his name? Oh my
Man,
God.
I've lost his name. I don't
Man,
know.
I'm
I don't
tripping.
know.
I'm tripping.
Yeah.
He
For
isn't. He isn't
sure.
our
For
guy.
sure.
He's not our guy. It'll come to
There
me.
you go. All right. So we got another edge. We threw another edge out of Cal. To add to the mix. Why not? That's all I can say is why not? Why not?
Right.
We really need Austin Booker to step up. That's the edge that we need to see. He needs to have like a Leonard Floyd type of year. I remember when Leonard Floyd was young and fast and light. He was maybe 240, 245 trying to play the edge, and they really couldn't use him much on run downs. But on pass downs, go get him.
Right.
Pin your ears back and go get him. And he has some good seasons, just coming in and filling in on the pass now. That's what we need out of this kid, Booker. It's 3rd and 12. He needs to be on the field. He needs to be out there pinning somebody's ears back and going. And hopefully this guy Carlton can put a little pressure on him. Hey, kid, that he was not bad last year, but he didn't do a whole lot. He has a
Right.
great motor,
Right.
but he didn't take the job. We still went out and bought a free agent,
Right.
which means you didn't take your number one spot if we went out and bought a guy to start.
Right.
Ja'Day Walker, wide receiver out of Texas A&M, again into that crowded wide receiver room. DJ, Rome, who's the kid we just got? Wide receiver
Burden.
Burton.
Yep.
We picked up some free agents. That's a crowded room. They added 2 more wide receivers. Again, those guys, they probably just are getting some film, getting a few $1,000 and get some McDonald's and head on out of town. I don't see them. I don't see it happen. The safeties, we've had a lot of injuries on safeties, so I wouldn't be surprised if we keep some safeties on the
Right.
practice squad for sure.
Right.
Tysheem Johnson out of Oregon, made the run at national championship.
They were tough. They were tough.
Tough team, tough defense. Played everybody, and beat almost everybody, right?
Yeah.
And just so it's a smart move. It's a smart move. Again, another safety out of a big program that didn't get drafted, but you never know, especially I wouldn't be surprised if both of these guys, if they look good, both of them end up on practice squad.
Yeah.
Maybe one sneaks into the roster because you just have so many injuries we've had at safety. I
Man,
love
and
Brisker.
Brisker missed most of the season last year from
Yep.
what I thought he would have returned with the concussion, and it kind of just seemed up in the air for the entire season as they made it seem like maybe it was a potential for him to come back, and then he just ended up sitting out the entire season. So they say he's healthy. Hopefully we get Brisker back because I like Brisker. Hopefully we can get him back to form and don't have to worry about him getting hurt again. But you're absolutely right. I've been wanting to see who they can bring in just to add some depth to our safety room because like those injuries are huge. And Brisker is really good. Brisker is really good, and he was
Really
doing
good.
well for us. So when you lose somebody like that, you need to be able to replace him with somebody that can actually come in and fill that role.
Yep, for sure. So I love those two pickups. Jeremy Robinson, DN out of Kansas. Again, not a great football school. We'll see, right? We'll see. He seems more like a camp body to me. And Hankins, running back out of Texas. And, I think at running back, man, I feel like we got a full house, but it's all sixes and sevens.
And that's how I feel. That's exactly how I feel. I don't know what exactly to expect at the running back room. I don't know. I don't know what to expect. Like I said, I like the guy we got in the 7th round of the draft. He's nice. Swift, I
I,
didn't see a lot from last year from what I would expect from him, but I feel like he's better than he performed for us last year. So I don't want to crap on him in any kind of way. And Roshan I like, but last year was just an abysmal year for us as a team. So I'm interested to see what Pose and what Ben Johnson have in store, and if they feel like we have the guys that we need in the locker room, or if they're searching for something else.
I agree. Swift, I think he's going to do a lot better behind a better offensive line as anybody, but Swift had a hard time getting out the backfield, especially at the beginning of the year. He was averaging like 2 yards a carry the first few games. That, even though we were winning, that was setting up some problems. People figured out stop. They were stopping the run without working hard to stop the run. You sit back and I think I don't know what you're going to find there. I like the kid when we talk about the running back room. I like the kid Ian Wheeler. This was the hard nosed running I've seen from him out of the backfield during the preseason before he went down. I believe it was an Achilles injury. He was a tough kid. So I don't know if he's 100% yet. I know he's still in the process of healing, but I like Ian Wheeler. And this kid, the kid they grabbed, the 7th round kid, he's not fast as NFL fast goes. He's like a 4.6 kid. But you know what? That's about demo speed. He's tough. And as much as people, 4.6 isn't fast, dude, I've seen some
Dude.
really fast people turn in 5 flats. Like regular Joes, excellent on the laser, excellent physical condition. When we were at Bears 100, they had a laser timed 5, a laser time 40 yard, and Alex Brown was running it with the people. He was jogging, unless you hit a 5, then he ran a little bit. But mostly he was jogging, and Alex Brown jogs like a 5.1. And this is like 3 years ago, so this is his late 30s. He's jogging
Right.
like a 5.1, early 40s. But this muscular, thin, young men, athletes would come up there. 5.0, 5.0.1, and I think it took all day of watching for a kid to like get a 4.9. So people say, oh, you know what, man, a 4.6 is actually not slow.
Right.
We're talking about the best athletes on the planet.
Right.
So when you have level low pads, you hit and knock a guy over. 4.6, 4.5, 4.4, 4.3, dude, it's your inability to be tackled that makes the most difference.
Right.
You look at that, that's what made Hester so incredible, because even at 5'10" 185 pounds, you couldn't arm tackle the guy.
Right.
He was fast. He was one of the fastest guys on the field, but you had to, what made it even worse, you had to square up to take him down.
Right.
Because just because I'm fast, if I'm fast and you can just tap me and I'm going down, well, that's kind of useless. You know, tackle football, it may be great in other sports, but track and field, wow, great. But you get this kid, and even though he's only running a 4.6 only, if you have to square in front of him to actually bring him down, and
Good
he
luck.
might bring you down.
Good luck.
Exactly.
Right.
Good luck. Good luck. So there's other things. Plus, he's got a nice cut, kind of like Fields had, where he didn't make a huge cut. He just changed direction on you. So if you knew you had to square up and you're squaring up and trying to form tackle this guy, and he all of a sudden you're trying to tackle his arm and his thigh, good luck. So we'll see. We'll see what he looks like. We'll see what the kid looks like when the game starts. But I feel like he's going to be something. Again, though, 6s and 7s, nobody in that running room has stood out and said, I'm your guy. Detroit let go of Swift. Then the Eagles let go of Swift. Now we've got Swift. And this is Swift's proven season. I don't think he's here next year if he doesn't do something. He needs to have a 1,400 yard year with 40 catches, and not because he got the ball 30 times a game. He needs to put some yards up, So I think it's good that we picked up this Haskins guy. How do you feel about the running back room?
Oh man, like I said, I like it. I like the guys that we have. Like I said, I like Swift. I like Roshan a lot. I like the rookie that we just drafted. Ian Wheeler, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of forgot about him due to the injury and not being able to get to see much of him during the season, or get to see him play during the season. But I like the running backs we have. I just want to see who's gonna be the man, because we need somebody to own that number one spot. And then this past year, Swift kind of, like I said, we had a bad team. The O-line wasn't good, but when it's not, I still expect you as the running back to get out the backfield and to make some plays. And even if not a lot, because you don't have a lot of protection from the O-line, you don't have a lot of push. Okay, but what do you have? And I didn't see a lot from him. So hopefully this year, if it's not Swift, I want to see somebody on that spot. And I'm not sure from what I'm hearing and seeing with Poles and Ben Johnson, I'm not sure if they're convinced. I don't know if they're looking at anybody else or if they're still planning. I mean, they, like you just said, they brought in this undrafted free agent. They drafted a rookie. I don't know if they're still looking around for somebody that's more of a veteran or experienced guy to own that role. There's been some talks of them bringing in some different guys. And I don't know what's to that. I don't know, is that just speculation, because you hear a lot of the talking heads and people on social media, saying, oh, I think they should bring in this guy or that guy. And I'm not sure that that's what Poles and Ben Johnson are thinking. But I'm just really interested, because last year the running back room left a lot to be desired. And I don't think it's because I think those guys aren't good or aren't talented. I just want to see how the new coaching staff plans to put it all together.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you on all of that. I think that a lot of those that like Swift has to prove that he can be the number one running back. He's got to prove that. He hasn't yet proved that, I don't think, in his career. Roshan has to prove that he's not just a backup, right? He was a backup in college, and he's a backup now. He's got to change that narrative. The other two young guys, they've just got to put some film on tape, you know, um, and fight, get in there and make a difference anywhere, special teams anywhere they can. But they
Right.
got to put some film on tape. But they got to be ready to go, because you know
Yes.
how the NFL is, man. Two running backs can go down in the same game, and all of
Right.
a sudden it's your number. I mean, Kurt Warner, two quarterbacks go down, all of a sudden he's throwing for a historic season. So you've got to be ready to go as next man up. And without question, it's tenuous. It's tenuous. I'm going to go ahead and also talk a little bit about tight ends. I mean, we've got Cole Kmet and Colston, and Kmet Colston. That's going to be a heck of a pair of tight ends. However, is there enough football to go around? What are you thinking?
Um, I think it can be. I think it can be. I think sometimes I just think when I mean you gotta first of all, you have to have the right culture in the locker room. You have to have the team mentality because when you do have a lot of threats on the offensive side, then that is a question to say: are there enough footballs to go around? But you have to also be a person who's committed to winning and understand that the greater good is when the team wins. So it might be your night, it might not, but I don't think you go wrong with having two dynamic tight ends like them. You get what I'm saying? I think for Caleb to have the weapons that he has around him, I think it can't do anything but help you. Even to say DJ Moore and the type of money we're paying him and the type of player that he is, I'm sure he's going to want the ball. I'm sure he's going to want his numbers, and I want to see him get him as well. But you have to understand that winning is most important, and you have to understand that the team concept. So I think it's always enough to go around as long as you have the right mentality. I think if if the coaches are able to scheme those plays together, I think that the more weapons you have out there, it can only serve to help your team. And I actually think we're in a really good position, especially as far as those tight ends go. I think there's so many things that Ben Johnson is going to be able to do with two tight ends like that. For years now, Kmet has been proving himself to be reliable. You get him the ball, he's holding on to the ball. We've seen him with 3 touchdown games a couple of times. So, I mean, hey, we know what he can do. So just to bring in a guy like Colston, I mean, hey, are you who do you want to leave in a one-on-one matchup? Who do you want to leave? You get what I'm saying? Open. Who are you
Somebody's
gonna?
going to be somebody's going to
Somebody's
have
gonna be
single
open.
coverage out there.
Somebody's gonna be open, and I think that yeah, there's always enough footballs to go around. I mean, then like, as we were just talking about the running backs, we should have a lot of weapons and a lot of opportunities to do a lot of good things on the offensive end. So as long as nobody has that attitude of like, oh, I'm not getting the ball enough, I think it has an opportunity to be beautiful. To be honest with
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think DJ, his career year was with Justin, over 1,300 yards, um, and just a slew of TDs, and just hit it. I think that he'll be a lot happier if he maybe has only 1,100 yards, but we're in the playoffs and we're the 2 seed or the 3 seed. And so that's we've got to play the long game. It it's bottom line, when Jordan was winning, he was averaging 30 a game. When he was losing, he was averaging 35.
you. Right.
And you just like you said, you got to understand that if I get super giant numbers, it's probably because my team sucks.
Right.
You know,
Probably because
I'm
my
not
team
saying it.
sucks.
I'm not saying it's never. Obviously, Saquon had super giant numbers last year, and his team won everything, right?
Right.
But that's a different scenario. They were ready made for Saquon to be added,
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
You know,
And the team
we're
did well still. The team
yeah,
didn't suck. The
yeah,
team didn't
yeah.
suck.
It was a
Yeah,
great team that he
right,
joined, and then he just was able to power through.
yeah,
Hopefully, Colston feels that way about us when he gets out there and go, "Whoa! People were saying this offense was bad. I'm flying around, making
right.
having a
I mean,
party."
in actuality, you have to. I mean, sometimes some positions is just like that. You get what I'm saying? And sometimes when your team is really good, like um, a la Michael Jordan, as you just mentioned, sometimes it's like that. But when you're a Saquon Barkley or when you're the quarterback, a lot of times you get the touches. It's like being a point guard. It's like you might have Klay Thompson and Steph Curry, or they might fluctuate who's getting 25 or 30 points in the game, but you as the point guard you probably can get to 12 to 15 assists because you're passing to these guys. Or so as far as getting the ball out the backfield, or as far as being the one calling the plays and delivering the ball to those guys, your numbers sometimes might still be up when other guys' numbers are down. But that's why I said they just got to be committed to being a winning team. And with all the weapons we have out there, man, I can't help but to think that these guys, whether it's going to be every night or every other night, they're all going to have an opportunity to have some really big games. Because if you
Really
start
big.
to focus on the person who's killing you, that should leave somebody else open for an opportunity to get some one-on-one coverage or to get their workout. So I'm excited.
Yeah, you can't double team our entire offense.
Right.
You really are going to have a hard time one-on-one covering our number one, our number two
Yeah.
receivers, our number one tight end, our number two tight ends, and maybe this kid that we just picked up who's probably going to be our number three, who was really a first round draft pick and fell down out of that first round.
Maybe he has a
Um,
huge year. Right.
man, I think it's gonna be fun, man. I can't wait till the preseason to watch a lot of these guys get out there and work. And of course, the real season is when it all happens. But as far as the undrafted free agents, most of them are going to be gone by the real season. But yeah, our history is one of these guys is going to be around. That's
Yeah.
our history,
And I mean, hey,
and I
they're
like it.
here.
I like it.
They're here to prove themselves. So I mean,
Yeah,
we might not know much about these guys, and they weren't high on people's draft boards. They weren't even selected. So it's easy just to write them off. But I think a lot of times, man, when you have the right athletes, when you have guys that really love the game, really love what they do, they relish in these moments to say, okay, you didn't select me. All right, now I'm here to make a name for myself. Now I want to
Austin
go
Eckler.
against. Now I want to go against the guy that is your best guy. That you're big on this guy. Let me show you. Let me show you what I
Let me
can do
show
to
you.
him.
Let me show you.
And I
Yeah,
mean, you
put
never
a
know.
hurting on them.
Yep. And then you never know. Every now and then, somebody like that comes out of a situation like that. Like you said, we've got a couple of them that have made our roster, and who knows? We might see another one or some more this year. So I'm happy for all those guys. I hope they take advantage of this opportunity. And hey, if we get another great player out of these undrafted free agents, that's even better. That's even better for our squad.
Yeah. Well, hey, you know what? I'm Uncle,
And I'm Nephew.
and we're
We're
talking
talking
Bears.
Bears. Till next time.
Till next time.